Some archaeological discoveries are so incredible that they're hard to believe at first sight. Feel free to double check, rewind, and watch again while viewing this video. But rest assured, despite how amazing they are, every discovery presented here is completely authentic. The Georgia Guidestones, often called America's Stonehenge, were an enigmatic granite monument built in 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia. Standing 20 feet tall and weighing over 237 tons, the structure was engraved with a set of 10 guidelines in 8 different languages, advocating for principles such as maintaining a balanced human population and promoting environmental care. Even though they were meant to guide future generations, the Guidestones became controversial and sparked conspiracy theories, with some people saying they promoted evil ideas. Things got worse when conservatives blew them up with a bomb on July 6, 2022. Before it was demolished, the Guidestone was already a target for vandalism, showing the deep divisions in how people saw it. The creator, known as Robert C. Christian, meant the Guidestones to guide humanity after a disaster. But what exactly the monument was for and its purpose was still debated and speculated about. After the bombing, local officials and the community debated whether to reconstruct the monument, highlighting the ongoing conflict between keeping history and dealing with controversial pasts. In 1992, forensic toxicologist Svetlana Balabanova made a groundbreaking discovery that puzzled historians and scientists. Traces of cocaine and nicotine were found in Egyptian mummies, substances believed to be exclusive to the Americas before the late 15th century. This discovery caused a lot of talk about whether Egypt and South America might have been in touch before Columbus, which could change how we see history. The discovery of these substances in ancient Egyptian mummies, referred to as cocaine mummies, sparked discussions and provoked interest in historical and archaeological circles, leading to inquiries about the reach of ancient trade networks and cultural interactions. Cocaine, a chemical from the South American coca plant, was historically used by ancient Peruvian societies as a stimulant and pain reliever, essential to their daily life and work. The Spanish conquest initially tried to stop its use, but quickly changed due to decreased native work productivity, resulting in the plant being taxed instead. The discoveries in the mummies of Egypt point to a story much more complicated than we thought before, suggesting ancient societies might have interacted more widely than we know. But where these materials in the mummies come from is still being looked into and argued about, questioning our knowledge of old global links. Did the ancient Egyptians understand the basic principles of electric lighting? Almost certainly not, but even if we accept that, we could still use some explanations about the Dendera relief. You will find it below the Temple of Hathor in Dendera. Most people refer to the relief as the Dendera light, and it is easy to see why. The huge objects lifted by the people in these carvings truly resemble large light bulbs. They seem to have filaments inside with wire-like shapes extending from the ends. For conspiracy theorists, this serves as further proof that the Egyptians possessed advanced technology and were more advanced than we currently recognize. To Egyptologists, the carvings represent snakes being carried on lotus leaves. Common sense suggests the Egyptologists are more likely to be right than those who believe in the bulb theory. However, it's still a bit strange that the same arrangements of snakes and lotus leaves aren't found on any other known ancient Egyptian carvings. The newly opened House of Obelius Firmus at the archaeological site of Pompeii provides visitors with an insight into the lifestyle of an aristocratic family during the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 Common Era. At the entrance, a big bronze and iron chest, damaged by the volcanic materials, represents the family's wealth and the unexpected nature of the catastrophe. The house, one of the largest and most detailed in Pompeii, shows the social status of its residents with a large safe and a marble table with a small statue on top. both visible from the street, aimed at showcasing the family's wealth and social status. The structure, with 2 entrances and boasting a grand atrium flanked by towering tuff columns over 23 feet high, was designed to impress and accommodate guests, further emphasized by the presence of a secondary atrium with brick seats for clientele. Sadly, this also became the last refuge for 5 people whose remains were found trying to escape the eruption. The house, with its private rooms, kitchen, and one of Pompeii's oldest spa areas, not only showcases the lavish lifestyle of that time, but also serves as a touching reminder of life's fragility in the face of nature's power. If this scary sight of the Euphrates River doesn't scare you, you're braver than I am. This famous river is huge and stretches far, but lately a little section dried up, and a small cover that was beneath the water became visible. As you can see, the water is mysteriously blood red, and there is an ancient statue standing proudly inside. Who built it is unknown, as is why the water is red. It is truly chilling. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. The Olmec colossal heads are amazing pieces from the ancient Olmec civilization in Mesoamerica, going back to at least 900 before Common Era. These large stone sculptures, which are between 4 and 11 feet tall, are thought to depict powerful Olmec leaders. Each head is unique, showing mature faces with full cheeks, flat noses, and slightly crossed eyes. Features that are still common among the inhabitants of Tabasco and Veracruz today. The heads were sculpted from large basalt boulders transported over great distances, possibly over 93 miles from the Sierra de los Tuxtlas Mountains in Veracruz. This feat shows the significant effort and resources invested in their creation. The heads are usually placed in lines or groups at important Olmec sites, wearing unique headdresses possibly used in war or ceremonial games. The finding of the first giant head sculpture in the year 1862 ignited archaeological curiosity about the Olmec culture. Up to the present time, 17 verified examples have been discovered at 4 locations within the Olmec heartland on the Gulf Coast of Mexico. The precise techniques used to move them and their complete cultural importance continue to be topics of continuous study and interest. Most people today do not believe in magic, but just a few hundred years ago, people fully believed in the power of magical spells. These small writings engraved on pieces of gold and silver foil, and then buried with the dead in Kostolac, Serbia, show that belief in the power of blessings and curses was much more common in this region 2,000 years ago. The inscriptions are in Aramaic, but appear to be in code. Since the discovery of the scrolls in 2015, experts have been working hard to decipher the text. Archaeologists found them during a land survey for a new power station on what was once part of the ancient Roman city of Viminatium. It turns out that the land was once used as a burial ground, and each person buried there received a lead amulet with a small scroll. The names of identified demons in the text suggest these might be magical scrolls. It's unclear why the dead would need a demon's services, though. South America has many old ruins and fascinating sites, but the most amazing is Pumapunku in Bolivia, close to Tiwanaku. It was there even before the Incas. The Incas really admired it after they came here. They thought it was so special that it was the birthplace of all humans, who then spread across the globe. It's easy to understand. The stones and bricks are perfectly carved and intersected with precision, but there are no chisel marks or signs of human carving. How could human hands have worked so delicately without leaving any trace of the effort? The temples include irrigation systems to manage rainwater runoff and boreholes in the rock that are so smooth they seem like they were drilled. However, such feats were far beyond the capabilities of what we know humans had when the site was constructed 3,000 years ago. Even after all this time, you still can't fit a needle between the perfectly joined stones. That's more than can be said for many modern buildings. You will find the strange stone ornaments known as the Diqui spheres all over Costa Rica. They are not rare. In fact, they are so common that some people even use them as lawn decorations. As common as they are, though, nobody is really sure where they come from. They are believed to originate from the region and were likely created by the indigenous people of Costa Rica. However, there may be no link between those indigenous Costa Ricans and the current inhabitants. Instead, they could have been crafted and formed by a civilization that has vanished over time. The workers of the United Fruit Company first made the spheres known to the world in the 1930s when they started uncovering them during their work. It's probable they were created by taking naturally round boulders and refining their shape through fracturing, grinding, and pecking. It's difficult to tell exactly when this was created, but archaeologists estimate it was between the 800s and 1500s, which is a broad time frame. Nobody has even a vague idea why they were created, but they obviously held significance for someone. To someone who doesn't know, Silbury Hill in Wiltshire, England looks like just another big green hill among many others. However, someone who knows can tell you that it is the largest prehistoric hill in all of Europe, and is surrounded by many myths and legends. Dating back to the late Neolithic era, the human-made hill is almost the size of some of the pyramids of ancient Egypt. Positioned close to an equally mysterious set of stone circles, Silbury Hill has frustrated archaeologists for years because it steadfastly refuses to give up its secrets. Excavations have been conducted since the 1680s, yet despite the discovery of intentionally placed clay and flint within the monument, its purpose remains unidentified. Without concrete evidence, local lore suggests that this is the burial site of the almost mythical King Sil, interred with his horse at the very core of the structure. Edward Drax, who led an excavation in the year 1776, talked about a 40-foot deep cavity at the base of the hill which he was unable to enter. Could the stories of a royal resting place be true? Nowadays, many individuals are fixated on purchasing branded items, yet the concepts of branding and marketing have origins that extend far beyond what most assume. Evidence suggests that over a millennium ago, an Ulfbert sword similar to this one was highly coveted by European warriors who valued their reputation. They have been found throughout the continent, and experts think they likely originated as a Viking fashion, though that is not certain. To our knowledge, they were the first swords cast from molds, combining iron and carbon molten and poured into a form. This process eliminated impurities that weakened many blades of that time, providing an advantage in battle to the warriors who possessed them. No one else in Europe seems to have been able to copy the process for at least 200 years. So how the Vikings thought of the idea is a mystery. It might have been taken from an Asian tribe they defeated, but that's really just a rough estimate. For hundreds of years, nobody was aware of the existence of the Bronze Age timber circle in Norfolk, England. It is known as Seahenge, a name coined by the British media, though it might not be the most precise description. It is not proven that this structure is a henge, but humans certainly created it. In 1998, the sands moved on a beach named Holme near King's Lynn, exposing a circular formation with an inverted tree stump in its center. The oak posts, originally 10 feet tall, have been dated and proven to be nearly 4,000 years old. At that time, this area was a salt marsh. The tide would have destroyed the timber if left there, so the whole circle was removed from the ground and transferred to Lynn Museum, where it is now available for the public to see. Historians think this was a burial site, but they often say that about things they don't understand. It could have been a clock, a calendar, or served many other purposes. There's always been something a bit odd about the Sumerian king list, which comes in several versions. The most well-known is the Weld Blundell Prism, located in Oxford, England at the Ashmolean Museum. It was found in Iraq in the year 1922 and has been causing problems for historians ever since. That's because the lengths of the reigns described to some of the former Sumerian rulers it is said to record. The most recent reigns detailed on the list are normal and presumably accurate. Sinmasir of the Isin dynasty, for example, is credited with an 11-year reign that began 3,830 years ago. Look closer to the beginning of the list, though, and you'll find kings credited with reigns that span several centuries. One of them is even said to have ruled for 3,600 years. Of course, this can't really happen, but historians are unsure why the records of the reigns are like this. They think maybe the reigns were made to seem longer to show off how great the king was. Another idea is that sometimes a reign passed from father to son and was considered a continuation, not a new reign. Subscribe to the channel, enable the notification bell, and enjoy watching new videos on my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.